Okay, this is kind of part 2 to a part 1 we did last time, where we basically did a room switch. We took Eric's room from downstairs and put it upstairs with the big girls. And now, today, we are going to bring down the craft stuff that was in that room down here and create, hopefully, what will be a magical craft space. But before we can get into all that fun stuff, we have to clear out this room. It has a little bit of Eric remnant. And sadly, we have to figure out a way to work around this bed because this room has become a much needed guest room. My parents, they live out of town, and so when they come in town, they need a place to stay that is not upstairs. And so this has to stay. So we're gonna have to get creative because I have a lot of craft stuff, okay? So we gotta figure out how to make it all work and perhaps declutter some. But before we get started, I have to tell you about our sponsor, Craftsy. I know, there couldn't have been a more perfect sponsor for this video. You should have seen my excitement when they reached out to me because I've actually been a member of Craftsy before in the past. And so this was kind of like a full circle moment for me. Craftsy is an online resource for all things creative. And as a natural born crafter, I am always hyper fixating on how to learn something new, okay? I've done crochet, sewing, quilting, vinyl cutting, photography, video editing. And when I'm trying to learn something new, I want a resource that will shorten the learning curve as quick as possible. I want the experts. I want well-produced videos. And that is what makes Craftsy such an amazing resource, okay? You need to learn how to put in a zipper. Well, go find Janet Pray's All About Sewing Zippers video, and in 20 minutes, you are going to learn how to do it 2 different ways. You're not having to filter through YouTube videos, you know, kind of peeling through the people who just learned how to put a zipper in themselves 2 days ago. No, you get the experts, you get good quality classes. And they don't just have sewing videos. They're constantly adding new content regularly. They have quilting, sewing, knitting, crocheting, baking, painting, drawing, gardening, woodworking. So if there's something you've been wanting to learn, Craftsy is it, because I've got a deal of all deals for you, but you've got to be quick because it's only for the first 1,000 new members. You're going to want to pause this video, go to the description box, click the link, and get a premium membership for $1.49. Yeah. So go do that real quick. I'll wait. I'm going to trust you did that. You don't miss out on a deal like that. Thank you so much, Craftsy, for this amazing deal and sponsoring this video. Now, let's get to putting this room together. This room was deceptively dirty. When I looked in there, I'm like, I got this, 20 minutes tops. But it was full of a bunch of random junk bins. One lone puzzle piece here, 3 broken crayons there, a birthday card from 2020, a bouncy ball, and of course, a charger that fits nothing that we own. And if I'm being completely honest, my house is full of junk bins. And it's just because, you know, when you're cleaning up and you don't have the time or energy to like make decisions or get that one item to where it needs to go, it's just the next logical step to stick it in a junk bin. And then there it goes, forgotten about for months, maybe even years. Thankfully, I'm not as bad as I once was. I really have rewired my brain into the touch it once. I think this was one reason why my house would get cluttered pretty quickly is I would, you know, clean up a room, pick something up. For instance, I might go into the entryway, pick up the entryway. I might move stuff to the counter that need to be put away in other spaces around the house. Well, I may or may not come back to that pile to put away. And so it's better for me to pick things up, maybe consolidate my trips, you know, if I'm going to the garage, see if there's anything else that needs to go to the garage, and I pick those things up once and I go to the garage. Yes, I know. Y'all are probably like, Shannon, this is not a novel idea, but for whatever reason, my brain just was wired differently. So I've really been trying to put into practice the touch it once theory. Now, do I still create those piles? Absolutely, especially if I have a room that is extremely cluttered. I am going to make piles, and then hopefully, Lord willing, I'm going to make the effort to put those piles away. Yeah, I just now am looking under this bed for the first time. That face when you thought cleaning up the floor was going to be the easy part. The good news is, and we're all about silver linings here, is that under the bed stores a lot of stuff. All right, it's been a couple days. We're back in the room. I'm gonna give you a shot of what my downstairs looks like right now. I have put myself in a situation and I have known better than to do this. I decided that I would have the craft stuff all brought downstairs to consolidate filming, you know, so I'm not filming empty spaces while I'm carrying stuff downstairs. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna carry everything down off camera. It's gonna be all outside the room. So when it comes time to film and putting everything in, it was all gonna be right here. And now it's been 2 days later and this is what my house looks like. This craft stuff has just taken over the house. So I guess I ended up getting ADHD paralysis or something because this bed takes up half the room and I don't have anywhere for this bed to go. So I'm gonna have to get really creative on this wall. So we're just going to count to 3, break through that paralysis and get it done. 1, 2, 3. Good thing about it being 2 days, I went ahead and got 2 more of these things to store underneath the bed to hopefully prevent stuff from slipping under there, because I'll tell you what, that's a pain in the butt right there. I still have some trash and other stuff we still got to clean, but I have to get this stuff out of my living room. Not sure why that video cut me off, but it was meant to say living room, okay? I got to get this stuff out of my living room. After living with it taking up all my counter space, all my table space, crowding around the sitting area, I just had to take care of it. And also I was kind of paralyzed by the mess, so I'm sort of procrastinating on that. And you know what? That just is what works for me. All right, I have found the desk goes there. We're going to use the shelves now as part of the desk. It did come with another leg. Oh, I just realized that leg is not on the ground. I wonder, I think those are adjustable. I could have sworn they're adjustable. Okay, we might be in a pickle there. This is my embroidery machine stand, so you know, like I said, we got to get creative here. Okay, my next creative move is to put this small bookshelf up on the desk, because the desk is quite deep, so I think it'll work out nicely and save wall space and actually kind of look aesthetic, because I do like rainbow order on the fabric. And because the desk is so deep, I don't think it's going to take away useful desk space. We'll see. Now I have to decide which side I like it on. Do I like it on that side or that side? Surprisingly, that is all the furniture pieces. I have like a plastic drawer bin and stuff, but I think I can consolidate it. I've got to fill up these bookshelves and bring in the machines. Okay, Eric and I just got done color ordering all the fabrics. This was a cool hack that I found out when I was trying to figure out a way to organize fabric. You can actually order comic book boards and use those as like little mini bolts of fabric. And it's worked really well for me. I've had this system for many, many years. It sits on this bookshelf. 10 out of 10 recommend if you are a fabric hoarder like me. So one of my dilemmas is I really contemplated just selling it all. Like just getting rid of all the craft room stuff. Selling this fabric, I probably wouldn't sell my sewing machine, but you know, getting rid of the serger and the embroidery machine. I have just found in this stage of life, I don't use it that much. But, I mean, this is hundreds and hundreds of dollars of fabric, vinyl, you're going to see later. It's just a lot of money in craft supplies. So, should I ever want to pick up the hobby again, it would be very expensive to replace all this stuff. And so that's kind of my dilemma. Like, right now, this season of life does not afford me much time to craft. You know, if I have downtime, I'm probably watching reality TV. Let's be honest. You know, I don't have a whole lot of motivation to get in my craft room, create, and all that jazz. So, what would y'all do? Would you say, just hang on to it, Shannon? You've downsized. You know, keep this space what it is as long as it works in your home? Or would you say, yes, get rid of it all. You don't need this kind of chaos in your life. I would like to take a poll, so let me know down in the comments. I have stated I am a natural born crafter. And so I'm just wondering, once kids are out of the house, you know, in the next 5 to 10 years, will I get that crafting bug back? Or even when they're all grown and teenagers and I have more time to myself, will that crafting spark come back? All right, so I'm thinking instead of finding a home for this thing, I'm going to try and downsize it, relocate some stuff. I also have a couple extra empty purple bins that I could store down in the cubes, the cube shelf. So I'm gonna see what we can do here. This is mostly like greeting cards. You know, I like to buy the cards in bulk, so I always have a card for whatever occasion on hand in a pinch. And I actually have a spot in my room that I have more. So I'm thinking I will just take these and put them in that bin. Alright, this bin has like craft felt, all sorts of stuff. This is very similar. This is more like vinyl with felt backs. I've got all sorts of vinyl. I'm thinking that I could just sort this and store it in there, and then we free up a whole nother bin. And honestly, when I'm crafting, I use these for very similar projects, so it's kind of good to have them in the same spot. So, you know, when the project calls for felt, it's there, and I remember I have it, because I'll be honest, I often forget I have this. This is the second time I've moved this craft room in probably a couple of years. And one thing I've realized about myself is every time I move, I end up consolidating it. So it kind of makes me want to take each room, pack it up, move it out, and then move it back in. Y'all should really go find my original craft room videos. I will try to remember to put them in the description box so you can see what I started with. And then you can compare it to the end of this video on what I'm left with, like the remnants of my craft room. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lot. And you know what would really benefit from this strategy? The closets in my home. My clothing closets, blanket closets, bathroom cabinets. This sounds crazy, right? Tell me this sounds crazy before I go and do it. Make some sort of tacos. Okay, that does not fit the space, so I need to plan around that. I'm really not sure what the plan is at this point. We're gonna figure it out together. I don't know if I can move stuff. I really need to, how about this? This can go here. This stuff, I'm thinking they're small. That's the problem with being a crafter. I have a hard time throwing it away. That's green, so let's get that green stuff. I'm wondering if we were able to get rid and relocate enough for it to fit. This is the moment of truth. Yay! Okay, problem solved. Kinda. These are wanting to come out. Okay. Alright, this is the third and final bin, and arguably the hardest bin because it's more vinyl. And they're bigger sheets of vinyl, so I know they're not going to fit. So these, I think we're going to put in here. Okay, very good.
Like a sunrise horizon, always there, always shining, building me up with the song it's singing.
Okay, all I have is a thread rack that's gonna need to go right there, and then I need to bring the embroidery machine, and I think for the first time ever I'm actually gonna hang these up. Y'all hold me to that because they painted these wonderful things many years ago, and I've yet to hang them up. I know, I'm horrible. But I have ignored this mess here. So we still need to give this some attention. Let me show you what did not come into the room that we were able to consolidate. Y'all saw that white bin. that we either relocated stuff or used what we already had set up. Then I have these bins, which we're gonna either donate or try and resell, just different craft stuff. So that's like 2 whole bins right there that I do not need. And then I have this bin of stuff, an old computer, which is way outdated. I have no idea how to dispose of it safely. So put in the comments, how are you supposed to dispose of old laptops? I'd really like to know. And then everything else is just gonna be donate, 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 donate. I'm so proud of this idea. I took the risk and did not take the threads or anything off of this pegboard and decided I was going to try and move it without disassembling. All right, the camera died, of course. Getting this up was probably the hardest part of this room, but Steven and I together, we got it. We got it nailed up there, should be good to go, it's nice and secure. I got this little toolkit off of Temu, I know, the forbidden shopping place. And I tell you what, this thing has come in handy. This has been Mommy's toolkit, so I don't ever have to look around for any tools or anything like that. It's been so nice. I hide it to where I only know where it's at. Anyway, I just realized that in this little thing comes random screws, anchors, and little brad nails so I can hang my mom sign. Busted, Shannon. Just look at that entryway. So cluttered. But those of you who have been around a while and have helped me declutter this entryway know that this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing. We are one of those families that use our entryways. We actually hang stuff up on the hooks, not just decor. It holds backpacks, purses. You see a swim bag. And actually, there's a plastic bag there that's full of sewing patterns that are waiting to be taken to the van to give away. Not bad for totally eyeballing it. Handy Shan has done it again. I love it when Handy Shan makes an appearance. Seeing her with a hammer in her hand is so empowering. I don't need no man. As my husband helps me carry in this super heavy embroidery machine. The craft room is ready for some crafting. I have to admit, I'm feeling a bit inspired, but dun dun dun. I still have to do this. Blah. This is where all those junk bins came back to haunt me. When I first started this video, I just set them all up on the bed and said, you know what? I'll see you later. So at this point in the video, I just needed to set the camera down and get to work. I turned on my favorite radio station, and I've noticed that, like, if you ask Alexa to play a station, I didn't want to say it out loud because I didn't want to trigger yours, but I've noticed that when I ask her to play a station, she usually starts with the same song every time. And I have really enjoyed that feature because it's always a good one. She always starts with the best. We love her. So I buckled down, jamming out to the music, and I just got in the zone. It's final stretch. We're getting this thing done. And we made some bold moves today because I threw the majority, I would say 80% out. 80%. And I've reached a point in my decluttering journey that if I don't ever want to pick it up again, it's getting thrown away or it's getting put in a donation bag, which is why I have a donation bag by the door. I have multiple donation bins or bags around the house for this very reason. I have found it to be very useful to put stuff that I don't just want to be wasteful and throw away, but that I can give away. I have a donation center that is very close to my house. And once I've collected a good bit, I will load up the back of my van and I will drive it up there. This has been a good system for me. It's hard for me to believe that I struggled throwing stuff away, because now I am ruthless. When I buckle down, I am ruthless, okay? I might let it collect a little bit, but when it's time, it's time. Anyway, here's some things that I would hang on to just for funsies. Pins. I would save every pin I found. It didn't matter how old it was, where it came from. I had a junk bin full of pins. Now, I throw away pins. Nobody in this house uses pins except for me, and I have my favorite set of pins. So I don't know who's bringing pins into this house, but I am taking them out. Then there's socks. I would hang on to every sock no matter how old it was, or even if the last time I saw that match was 10 years ago. I'm still hanging out hope. Finally, I ended up matching what I could and throwing out the rest. And then I went a step further and threw out all of them and started fresh for each person in the family. And I didn't buy pattern or colored socks. Everybody got one color and they were all the same, making matching such a breeze. And then I didn't have a random basket full of socks. It was life-changing. I don't know how we did it, but we did it, y'all. Let's take a look at what we started with. We had quite the unexpected mess. I'll be honest, I did not think that mess was going to be as bad as what it was. With the bed taking up half the room, I did not know how we were going to fit a whole craft room into the space. But y'all, a little downsizing, a lot of throwing away. We got it done, y'all. Here's what it looks like now. Is your mind blown as much as it is mine? I don't know. You have to understand, my craft room was like wall to wall. And there wasn't an empty wall that didn't have some bookshelf, machine, whatever. It just, and somehow we have squeezed it into half a room. I'm actually feeling really inspired in here. I don't know what I should make first. I'm really itching to turn on my embroidery machine because I haven't done that in a while. Special thank you to Eric for helping me out. Thank you, Craftsy, for sponsoring this video, y'all. This is your reminder. Hopefully they aren't all gone. Go snag your annual membership for $1.49. If you haven't already, go say something kind to yourself, and we will see you in the next one.